The author of this story, Sonia Saini. Tony had been standing by the window for almost half an hour. During the last 30 minutes, he had lit and finished several cigarettes. Each time his thoughts returned to the bitter present, he would shake them off and try to focus his gaze on a distant memory. Tony's father and Doni had been hospitalized for the past 10 days, and their condition seemed to be worsening with each passing day. Tony would spend the entire day sitting with his father, trying to put on a fake smile. He was lost in memories of his past together with his father until outside, it was pouring heavily. Silence had spread as far as the eye could see. Tony stood by the window, took a drag of a cigarette, and slowly began to exhale. Then his gaze fell on a streetlight some distance away from the hospital. The raindrops falling in the amber light from the streetlight looked very beautiful. For a moment, Tony forgot his worries and soaked in the glitter of the raindrops. In the next moment, Tony spotted a woman dancing in that dim yellowish light of the streetlight. It felt somewhat strange to see a woman dancing in such a peculiar manner at midnight, when even birds were not visible on the streets during the heavy downpour. The woman was wearing a white headscarf that covered her face, a short skirt and white bodysuit. She was twirling her fingers in the air as she danced. Tony watched the mysterious-looking woman very carefully. It seemed to him that she was making some letters with her twirling fingers. After dancing for a while, she pointed towards Tony, and then suddenly vanished. Scared by the woman's gesture towards him, Tony quickly closed the window. After a while, he slowly opened the window again, and there she was, dancing again. Flustered, he hurried to where the mysterious woman was dancing. As soon as he reached her, she lifted her face. The woman's face was clearly visible in the light of the streetlight. Her face was white and wrinkled, with deep hollows where her eyes should have been, leaving dark rings around them. Her lips had been sliced with a blade, exposing raw skin surrounded by dried blood. She stared at Tony with her terrifying sunken eyes. He was struck with terror, unable to move from where he stood. There was no strength left in him to stop what was about to happen. He used all his might to run back to his room. His room was engulfed in darkness, with just a hint of blue light. He sat up on his bed, sweating profusely and gasping for air. He was parched. He got out of bed to get a drink of water and saw that it was 5 a.m. All of this had been a dream. I should check on Dad and see if he needs anything, Tony thought to himself. He went over to his father's bedside and touched his hand, only to find that his body had gone completely cold. Tony screamed for the nurse, the doctor, and for God to help. Hearing Tony's cries, the doctor rushed in. But it was too late.
This was a severe blow for him. After performing the last rites, he was sitting quietly in his room, lost in his thoughts. Suddenly, he remembered the dancing lady and his expressions changed. My dad dancing like that and mysteriously dying afterwards. Could there possibly be a connection between these two? They used to dance underneath the streetlight. Maybe she also created the same figure with her fingers. Then pointing a finger at me probably meant she was trying to tell me something. This curious lady was confusing him. The less he thought about her, the more his historical sense kicked in. How did this lady know that my dad was about to die? Countless such questions started popping up in his mind. Even a single moment felt like a predicament for him. In the spur of the moment, he started his car and sped away from the city. Located merely outskirts from Serbia's city was a small wooden farmhouse by the lake. It had always been Tony's favorite since his childhood. Whenever he felt alone, he would come here to spend his time. His dad gifted him this hut on his birthday. Tony's car halted outside the farmhouse. Sometime after flipping pages of an old album, it felt to him like someone's humming voice was audible near the window glass. Slowly he approached the window to listen. He started hearing the clear voice of a woman. Fearfully, he opened the curtain, and his breath hitched when he saw the window. There was a message written in blood. "I am death." Tony looked towards the road, but it was deserted. The lady was still dancing at its end in her usual manner. Fearfully, Tony looked towards her hands. Even today, she was creating some image with her fingers. Even though everything had changed, he buried his face in his knees and sobbed for a while. He fell asleep without realizing, crying his heart out. Once again he saw the same lady in his dream. This time she wasn't dancing. She used gestures to invite Tony towards herself. Scared as hell, Tony started walking towards her as if he were a puppet following her gestures. He reached near her. His comprehension meant, "I am in love with you and will snatch everything away from you. Death is the ultimate truth. Come with me." She held Tony's hand and was about to pull him with her while playing. Tony used all his strength to push her away and free himself from her hold, and started running away. Suddenly, Tony woke up from his sleep. It was 2 a.m. at night. Terrified, Tony picked up his phone and dialed Michelle's number, but he received no response from the other side. Wiping sweaty forehead, he dialed the number again. "Then why didn't you pick up the phone?" "How scared I got, you have no idea. Michelle is no more." Tony collapsed on the floor. The dancing lady was true indeed. She took away everything from him. Apart from his father Anthony and his fiancée Michelle, Tony had no one else left in his life. After their deaths, it felt like Tony had no purpose left in life. Somewhere deep inside, he wished to end his life and reunite with his father and Michelle. He used to roam from one street to another all night, smoking cigarettes in search of the dancing lady. But maybe death chooses us. We can't choose death. After that day, Tony never saw the dancing lady again. She must be looking for her new prey. Tony is now warning the world through his blog about the dancing lady.